Let me ask you something. What if your child's favorite social media app is actually more dangerous than the proverbial stranger in the white van we've been warning kids about for decades? That's right, folks, it's TikTok, and we're at it again. TikTok, the seemingly innocent app for dance challenges and cat videos, has become once again the epicenter of one of the most aggressive legal battles in the United States today. Over a dozen states and the District of Columbia have filed lawsuits against TikTok, this time claiming the app's addictive design is wreaking havoc on children's mental health. Imagine your kids scrolling through what looks like harmless content, but instead getting hooked, like a rat in a dopamine maze, while TikTok rakes in billions. Yeah, the lawsuit says it's just that bad. In this video, we're going to unpack exactly what these lawsuits are all about, why TikTok's algorithm has states' attorneys general seeing red, and what it all means for family, social media, and the law. Spoiler alert, TikTok may have to pay out some big bucks and could face another potential ban. But before we dive into the nitty-gritty, let's just say, this case isn't just about legal jargon and corporate fines. It's about whether we're willing to let a digital Pied Piper lead the children to places even Grimm's fairy tales would be too afraid to go. So what happens when it's not just negligence, it's intentional? Well, that's exactly what the attorneys general are saying about TikTok in this lawsuit. The lawsuit claims that TikTok didn't just slip up and create a harmful product by accident, they did it on purpose. Imagine a toy manufacturer creating a doll filled with razor blades and then shrugging it off with an oops, sorry, didn't mean to. Yeah, that excuse wouldn't exactly fly for the doll manufacturer, and it probably won't work for TikTok either. At the heart of these lawsuits is a legal theory we all know and love, negligence. But this isn't some garden variety case where someone forgets to put up a wet floor sign. The states argue that TikTok had a duty of care to its users, especially minors, given the platform's immense popularity among children and teens. They claim that TikTok breached this duty by designing an app that's basically an addiction machine. We're talking about infinite scrolling, hyper-personalized content recommendations, and the most egregious part, push notifications late at night. So while your children should be sleeping, they're getting buzzed awake with notifications urging them to check out that latest viral challenge. But here's where things get juicy. The lawsuits don't stop at negligence. They allege that TikTok's behavior goes beyond mere carelessness and into the realm of intentional manipulation. You see, TikTok didn't just ignore the risk of addiction, it actively exploited it. It's like offering free samples of a new candy, knowing full well it's laced with something addictive. So when states allege TikTok intentionally designed its platform to exploit kids, they're saying TikTok put profits over the health and safety of minors, and it was all by design. All right, so far we've got manipulation, addiction, and some serious shady behavior. But is TikTok really guilty of these claims, or is it just another example of politicians making a fuss over nothing? Let's dive a little bit deeper. What if I told you that TikTok's entire marketing strategy could be classified as one big fat lie? Imagine buying a car from a dealership that promises it's safe and a family-friendly vehicle, only to find out later the brakes don't work and the airbags are stuffed with confetti. That's basically what the lawsuit claims TikTok has done. The consumer protection violations alleged in the lawsuit are almost as damning as the accusations of intentional addiction. States like California and New York are arguing that TikTok has been running an ongoing scam. Yeah, you heard that right, a scam. The app presents itself as a safe, child-friendly environment with all the necessary safeguards in place, but surprise, surprise, the lawsuit reveals internal documents showing TikTok's own executives knew the platform was harmful and did nothing. Worse yet, they allegedly lied about it, misleading parents and regulators. Now, here's where things get a little bit more complicated. Misrepresentation claims typically require a few key ingredients: a false statement of fact, intent to deceive, and damages caused by the deception. TikTok's public claims about safety versus its internal knowledge about the harms essentially amounts to corporate gaslighting. They've been saying, don't worry parents, your kids are safe with us, while the algorithm was secretly busy serving up content that exacerbates issues like body dysmorphia, depression, and anxiety. It's as if TikTok, in its public representations, promised parents a babysitter, but that babysitter actually turned out to be Freddy Krueger, and TikTok knew about it all along. But hold up, you might be thinking, what about federal laws designed to protect our kids online? Surely TikTok didn't mess with these, did they? Have you ever tried sneaking into an R-rated movie as a kid? Well, TikTok might be guilty of the digital equivalent. Instead of sneaking in, it's allegedly inviting those kids in, 13 and under, and collecting their data. Yeah, we're talking about COPPA, and COPPA violations can be a big deal, and TikTok might have broken this law big time. COPPA, otherwise known as the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, makes it illegal for platforms to collect data on kids under 13 without parental consent. The lawsuits allege that TikTok not only collected this data, but designed its features to appeal specifically to this group, then turned around and pretend it wasn't happening. A classic move, right? According to the complaints, TikTok actively encouraged young children to create accounts and then gather their data for personalized ads. Imagine a children's amusement park secretly taking notes on every kid's favorite ride and then selling that information to candy manufacturers. That's essentially what TikTok is being accused of doing here, and it's a massive violation of trust, not to mention the law. Okay, so we've got manipulation, deception, and potential criminal behavior, but we're not done yet because there's another layer to this story that's just as troubling. What if TikTok isn't just a harmful app, but a defective product? Sounds a bit strange, right? We tend to think of defective products as things that can physically harm you, like a toaster that bursts into flames. But digital products can be just as dangerous, especially when their design can cause psychological harm. The states are pushing an interesting angle here. They're arguing that TikTok is a defective product because of its design flaws. The very features that make it so addictive also makes it inherently unsafe. Under product liability law, you can sue a product if it's defective in design, manufacturing, or because it failed to include adequate warnings. And in many states, this is a strict liability offense, meaning that if it's true, mens rea doesn't matter. Applying this to TikTok, the endless scroll, the beauty filters, and even viral challenges can be viewed as defective features because they've been linked to significant mental health issues like anxiety, depression, and even self-harm ideation. It'd be like selling a car with a speedometer that only reads 30 miles an hour when the car can in fact go up to 150. That gives a false sense of security. Now, this is a somewhat novel approach, but depending on how it goes, it could redefine how courts view tech companies' responsibility for digital products. If TikTok is found to be a defective product, the implications could be massive, not just for TikTok, but for every social media platform that's out there. So where does this all lead? The real question here isn't whether TikTok will have to pay out some fines, it's whether we should be looking at this as the beginning of the end for social media as we might know it. Could the TikTok downfall set the stage for a complete overhaul of how tech companies operate? Or will it be just another example of big tech walking away with a slap on the wrist? These lawsuits could mean one of two things: a massive payout and perhaps some temporary features slapped onto TikTok to appease regulators, or it could pave the way for new laws and new regulations that change the digital landscape entirely. But what do you think? Do you think TikTok should be held accountable for its alleged harm to children's mental health, or is it the parents' job to manage screen time? Is this the beginning of the end for big tech accountability, or are we all just wasting time on legal battles that will never lead to real change? And finally, if TikTok is guilty of targeting kids, what about other social media platforms? Do you think they should be worried? Let me know what you think in the comment section below, because this issue impacts us all. Until next time, I've been Uncivil Law, and remember to keep it uncivil out there.